Oh yeah, we're live.
Hello, I'm Matt Bergman, and you are listening to the Punk Rock Libertarians podcast, episode 227. I'm here tonight with Jared Schneiderman.
What up?
Phil Dassing.
What's going on?
Kyle Wagner.
I'm back.
And, and David Dull is back with us again.
Good evening.
Yeah. Yeah, so thanks for coming out tonight, guys. I know we normally do like an outline before the podcast when we discuss like what we're going to talk about first, but I want to talk about that Facebook page. What is it? Libertarian Party social media.
Yeah.
So somebody made a page, and they're, it's obviously like a satirical parody account, and they are just like, just kind of like ragging on the Libertarian Party. I mean, it seems to me to be like, all in good fun. It's pretty comical, right?
And it's clearly satirical.
Yeah.
Well, people have actually been freaking out about this page. I didn't know separately you guys were getting messages about condemning this page because apparently, what's her name? Ressa?
I thought it was pronounced Risa.
Ressa.
And people, if they don't know who Risa is, she's a longtime libertarian activist who made national headlines because she was a school teacher who had filmed adult films in her 20s or whatever. So it was like 20 years later.
Really?
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, guys. Okay, so it came out that she had done pornography, and she ended up, it again made national headlines, and she ended up getting fired. She lost her job over it because the parents didn't want her around the kids. So, and then she dated Joshua Smith, who ran for LP chair against Nicholas Sarwark last time. So she's been around for a while. She also worked on Larry Sharpe.
What does that mean? She's been
around.
What does that mean?
Excuse me.
Stop slut shaming, Kyle.
I meant that she's been around in the libertarian circles. I didn't mean anything
like circle
sexual.
jerks.
Yeah, I don't know, but so like.
Sorry.
This page, the Libertarian social media, posted a picture from her pornography of her kissing another girl.
Okay,
so
that sheds a little light on it. Okay.
She was upset about that, and her arm, she has a lot of, I don't know how to put this, fans. We'll just say fans. She has a lot of guys that are just fans, and they're very protective of her, and they go out and they're, trying to protect her reputation.
So wait, there was a post on this page that was mocking her in some way?
It had a picture of her kissing a girl.
And it says...
right. And so you guys, if you didn't have all that backstory,
I
you
did
may
not have that
understood.
that picture. Okay, I thought that was just random, like,
Me too. I did
No,
not know that was...
it's-
Okay, so that makes sense why they're mad.
It's
Okay.
from Reese's adult film, and which is the time in her life she's tried to put in the past. And I guess she was just offended by the fact that image was used kind of to mock her or mock the party or whatever. So
Kyle, this is a
little
more,
fucked up.
This is like a more sensitive Kyle Wagner that I'm feeling here.
well, I just happen to understand what the scandal's all about, But
Yeah.
I think that's not the only scandal with this page. It's obviously butted heads with the LP because they're going, hey, you're using our imagery and our name. And making fun of us, and so it's
property.
disparaging the
Intellectual
brand,
property.
which many libertarians don't believe in intellectual property. So then you have a philosophical debate on top of that about whether your brand can be legally protected. And I believe, and
unless you can prove that it's fraudulent, that would be, in my opinion, the only way to legitimately take legal action. I mean, obviously, there's probably copyright laws that cover it, but. In a free society or whatever, I think the question is this fraudulent? Are they actually pretending to be the Libertarian Party and defrauding people into thinking they are? I don't think so. I mean, unless you're a retard.
Well, I mean, a lot of people, especially if you use the same exact spelling and you say Libertarian Party social media, it's quite possible that people would think that is the official voice of the Libertarian Party. So I had heard...
Well, that only makes it funnier, though.
All right. I had heard that Sarwark threatened to sue the page, and they changed their name to Libertarian or something like that. Libertarian. They changed the spelling to have a slightly different spelling.
All their memes have misspelled words in it.
Okay. Well, anyhow. I mean, I don't know. I got a message from one of Reese's fans to unlike the page.
I did too.
So
did you?
Yeah, so let me tell you about my message. So, I wake up this morning, and then I see that I got a message from one of my Facebook friends, and I don't think I've ever talked with him before, but I go to his page, and I think we have like 700 mutual friends or something. So, anyways, he asked me to unlike the Libertarian Social Party Media page because they're talking very mean about one of his friends. Then I responded, who? And it says that he saw it, but he just didn't respond, Because I was just going to say, I don't know. I think that page is pretty funny. I think it's like totally hilarious. It's one of my favorite things on Facebook right now, along with like the Storm Area 51 page.
Which got taken down, by the way.
Got taken down.
I don't know. Like the group that I'm in is still up, and
the original event that had like 1.5 million people saying they were attending.
Like 3 million at the time.
Did it?
Yeah.
That event itself got zucked. So hopefully people remember the date.
Yeah.
What if somebody made one like not storming Area 51 on
totally not
storming Area 52?
Hey Kyle, Lynn says those guys you were referring to are called
not storming area.
Are called orbiters.
Okay, well I was being polite.
So it sounds like we have like two different issues. One about like what kind of branding you can have for a Facebook page. Is that what it is, right? Or a group?
Yeah.
And the second thing is like this risque situation. I can only imagine like, well, one, I don't think this kind of drama happened. Well, no, it does. Drama like this happens in the Republican Party, like on both ends. Like I remember in Virginia Beach, there was a Republican Party of Virginia Beach Facebook group, and when Ron Paul Libertarians were like getting involved in the campaign, we were joining the group and we were talking about libertarian philosophy, and we were upsetting like the other grassroots people who were like on this page. So like a few of us Ron Paul types, like we literally got kicked off the page. But then there's like a drama because, well, we're paying members of this organization. Like you can't just kick us from this page for no reason. Like it's not like a legal issue. It's just like, hey, I can talk about this, to the people who are running the Republican Party, saying like we're being pushed out. So they just completely shut down the Facebook group. Well, we created another one. And we called it Virginia Beach Republicans, but like just people who are Republicans, not people who like represent the Republican Party. That page that group grew out of control. I mean, it was like 300 people when I left. It's like 1,000 now, and it's like the Republican Party of Virginia Beach and the Republican Party of Virginia have no control over it whatsoever. So like, it's just funny to see the drama that can happen like in the major parties, or like the sex scandals. Like we got Bill Clinton and Trump and like whatever's going on with them. Like it's just funny to see like, yeah, we have this drama, that's going on, but it's happening on the main stage.
Kyle, did you ever fly on the Lolita Express?
I did not. No.
Dude, I hear they had cheap air flight though. Cheap airfares.
Yeah, it's interesting with social media and politics. Like when you have a message, and like libertarians, we have so many different ideas of what the message should be that there's often a lot of fighting, even about what the LP page puts out, because it goes against what some people in the party believe.
I'm just
so
yeah. I mean,
it's not only as a fight about messaging; it's a fight about issues and everything else, and who controls that page, who decides what gets published. And the LP in the past, I think, has made mistakes. I think they've made some sloppy posts that shouldn't have gone out, that reflect poorly on us. I personally am not a fan of the member profiles. They put like a close up of people holding up their card, and I just feel like it's sometimes if the camera's too close, it's an unflattering picture. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of that theme.
Well, Kyle,
that's the least offensive thing ever.
Well,
compared to when Sarwark posts about telling these kids who are walking out of school for gun violence, for advocating for gun control, he was like, "We stand with you," and that's he makes a social media post about that. That's what I'm more focused on. Like that's why this whole page started, was just to make fun of them.
Kyle, bro, dude, you were probably the person who was like trolled the most and parodied the most on social media, right? And then
I doubt not in the grand scheme of all social media, but
probably
within the libertarian sphere,
I mean,
I'm in probably in the top 50.
No, I don't know, man. Dude, you've got to be number one, man. There's at least a half dozen pages and groups. Okay, so no.
So there's a story.
Okay, so what do you think about this, the Libertarian Party social media? Because I mean, you obviously like the page, right? Did you unlike it when this guy asked you to unlike it?
Yeah, I did.
What the fuck, dude?
I don't know. I
Kyle.
crumbled like
Pussy.
a house of cards. I was just like, whatever. I don't care that much. You know.
I don't know. I think it's
In
pretty. I think it's pretty
hindsight,
annoying
maybe
that
I
this
sh-
guy's like soliciting my Facebook. You know,
I didn't want
fucking
to
like Jehovah's Witness my inbox, dude.
incur the wrath of the
Have you heard the
Reese's
word?
fans. So
Orbiters.
Dude, I'm kind of hoping that I do get a message.
Well, so pretty much
I'm not that
it's-
important,
It
though,
started
so.
for me earlier in the day. The girl, I don't know. I forget her name. She posted in the Fakertarians discussion group, wanting to know. She like posted a picture of what the page looks like and says, everyone wants to know who's behind this. Like
What's Faketarians?
Yeah, Fakertarians group. It's just a group where they make fun of like people like Augustus, Invictus, and they make fun of like crazy leftists and crazy like fascists that are in the party, and it's pretty fair and balanced, you know.
I guess they're like
What?
they're like the libertarian police, you know. So like
Not really.
a little bit they are a little bit like they go after people that have either gone too far right or too far left
So it's
or
Kyle,
too
do
far
they-
away from the.
or
Kyle,
too
did-
minarchist.
Kyle,
Or
did they
two
ever
minarchists.
get you, dude, with like a picture of your helmet?
I can't remember if I ever made the Fakertarians main page. I believe that I did, but I mean I know the guy. It's like John Hudak runs it. I mean.
Yeah, and so
I think I'm friends with him on Facebook anyway.
well, the group is a lot more lighthearted, where people posting things, and I share the Punk Rock Libertarians podcast to the group. But so I noticed she made this post like, who's behind this? And I've noticed over the past few days, people were like, who's running this page? Someone needs to step up and be a man and show your face, and you coward. And I'm like, why is everyone so fucking angry? What now? I understand now why people are angry.
yeah.
It makes sense now. But so then I was like, what's
Yeah,
this, a
it's like
parody page?
these people are bravehearting here, dude.
Right, yeah. So I was like, dude, stop white knighting. This one guy was just berating me left and right. I'm like, he's like, it's not. It's a disgrace, and this person needs to I can't believe you're defending him. I'm like, dude, stop white knighting for Risa, whatever. Because one of the memes, it showed a picture of one of her lizards that she has, and it said on there, like, who runs this page? And it shows a quote from her, and it like misspelled her name and a bunch of other stuff. So I thought that was the meme that they were upset at. So I'm like, this is harmless.
I don't know.
What are you guys talking
I think
about?
this is like totally entertaining.
So it's so.
And
I feel like such an
I gotta
ass
say,
now.
if you do run this, please send me an instant message.
Yeah,
because I think you are awesome.
Your
I think
identity
this
is
so
safe
hilarious.
with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
So-
has been totally entertaining.
And so then she started like hinting at like maybe I was the one behind the page. I'm like, what? Like I don't know any
Phil's
of you.
not that clever.
I am not. I'm really not. So I couldn't believe him. Like, why is everyone so butthurt over this? Well, now it makes sense a little bit more why everyone would be, I guess, butthurt over it.
Kyle, do you feel as though this page hurt you in your vagin?
No, it has not addressed me or memed me or anything.
It made fun of Arvin the other day.
My
It did?
vagina
Not yet,
is
dude.
intact.
Not yet.
What did
dude.
Arvin have to say?
Not yet.
Uh,
I don't anticipate it. I think
let's
libertarians have moved on from me. You know.
Aw.
So you don't think
He's
Kyle?
forgotten.
You don't
Kyle-
think, you don't think
Kyle's
Kyle Spear is gonna
Do we
feel the
think
wrath
this,
of this?
Do you think this podcast
No.
has shown them another side of you?
No, I don't. I just
Maybe a
I just-
lighter, less status side?
I just think as time has gone on and we've moved into the Trump era, like people just have bigger fish to fry. They're too busy fighting against like actual socialism or
Alt-right
whatever.
guys.
They don't. The minarchism isn't as controversial or as exciting as it was.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it was.
It's
Really
like in times of peace,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, now we can battle over like how much government to have, but now it's just like, oh, we've got actual
Hey,
like socialists in
yeah.
power.
Yeah.
Kyle,
And
Kyle,
my group-
what do you think you can do to make
We can use a lot
minarchism
more of that.
more exciting? Do you think like maybe if you started taking some pictures where you had like your couple top on buttons unbuttoned, do you think that would make minarchism more exciting?
Yeah, I think so. Add some sex appeal to it. Sex sells. I mean, it's an idea. Maybe maybe like updated helmet or something. I don't know. But yeah, like even in my group, anarcho-capitalism versus minarchism, like in the past, like,
maybe like a helmet with a strap on
Dude,
top of it.
in the
Guys,
past couple years.
Sorry to interrupt, but we found a meme that's making fun of Arvin, and Arvin liked the meme.
It says, status insists that there is some magical age at which every single person on Earth is ready to give sexual consent. And it shows a Muppet of Kermit the Frog petting some little bear in bed. and it says, quote Arvin Vora, and Arvin Vora liked that. So, it was pretty funny. Sorry, we're just all this is so new. It's
People just need
happening
to
so
get
fast.
a fucking sense of humor, man.
Well, also here's another thing they were making fun of. This is also big in the news that happened in the past week. Was there's a meme on here about Sarwark. Apparently, he tried pulling off a stunt where he wanted to give himself $75 an hour working for the party to help with his transition to moving to New Hampshire.
Oh yeah, and didn't like somebody from Libertarian Party social media make a meme that said
Yes.
"Fight for 75"
Fight for
with
75.
Starbucks face?
So
Damn, dude, that's
yeah.
like, what is that, like 150 grand a year or something?
Yeah, he tried pulling this off, and apparently
How can they
it was,
even afford that?
well, they
shit?
didn't. They shot it down, and which was pretty shocking. I think everyone was kind of really upset at how blatant he was, kind of pushing this forward. Like he wasn't trying to hide what he was doing. He wanted to. I don't know what the position it was. It was like a media something coordinator. He was going out for or wanted. Apparently, someone was leaving, and so instead of filling the position, he just wanted to just assume the position and give himself a raise of $75 an hour.
Well, he doesn't get anything.
Well,
I mean, the LP doesn't pay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because that's right.
Its chair. I'm sure it's the only.
So why wouldn't you like start lowballing? Like maybe go for like $20
I don't know,
an hour?
man. I mean, the LP doesn't have any money. Like, it has very few dues paying members, and there's just not a lot of money to go around. So it's like all they can do to afford their headquarters. I think they have a mortgage on like a building in Arlington or something, or and that's about it. I mean, it's just there's no money. There's not very much money in libertarian politics. I'll say that. It's unfortunate that we can't pay our chair.
This meme is just priceless. I'm sorry, guys. It says used car salesman. You can rent this bad boy for $75. It says me. Wow, that's a great car. He goes, used car salesman. No, me. It's got a picture of
You can
Star
rent
Wars.
me for $75.
Right, yeah. Oh my God, it's so fun. There's some humorous things. I admit, maybe went a little too far with Ressa. Maybe it went too far with that. I can see now why everyone's upset. I didn't know that before. It's my bad. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the porn picture. So see how closely I was looking at this porn picture.
Yeah.
But I didn't recognize her, so whatever.
So apparently you are not running the page.
No,
Right? If
I'm
Phil
not.
Was running
Yeah,
the
I'm
page,
not running the page.
How could he be so ignorant about
And
what
I don't
all this
know who.
controversy was?
Whoever's doing this is very quiet because I reached out to a bunch of people.
They're also
who I-
fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
dude.
I reached out to a bunch of people, and none of them knew, or at least they admitted that at least they told me they didn't know. So, or it wasn't them. So, but apparently they said, I heard people were saying Joshua Smith was behind it. And I was like, what? And they were like, no, we looked into that. He's not.
I don't think so.
Like, we looked
Josh,
into it. Like,
I
what
mean,
kind of egotistical maniac would say something like that?
Josh
We looked
isn't
into
that.
it.
He doesn't have that
Well,
much of a sense of humor.
They made
really.
fun of Josh in the one of
Yeah.
these
Yeah, but wouldn't that
posts.
be a great way to throw someone off your
It
tail?
would.
Like it could be Arvin.
Oh my God.
He's a little more serious. too.
Yeah, I don't think he'd do that either.
Josh is funny, man. I only hung out with him for one time, one night, and we hung out, and he was pretty.
Who's
cool.
Josh?
Joshua Smith. Sorry, he's running for the chair of the Libertarian Party,
Okay.
and he used to date Ressa, and
I think it's Risa.
Risa, whatever. I don't know. I that's how much I know these people.
Risa Pieces, like Reese's
Risa. Okay, is it
Pieces.
short for Teresa?
No, I don't know what it's just Risa.
I don't know. You're the one who knew she was important. I thought
Well,
maybe you
I
might
feel
know her
really
name.
bad if it's actually Ressa and I'm mispronouncing
okay,
it.
Kyle,
Oh,
Kyle,
Risa.
Kyle, question.
Yeah.
So you know she was in porn. Did you spank it to the movie?
No, I did not.
Did you watch the movie?
I did see a clip.
Okay, you're smiling like maybe you spanked it to the movie.
David is.
I did not.
David's blushing over there.
I did not.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about. I'm sorry. I mean, well, I know now, but like all of this information you've been giving me for like the last half hour has just been
Hey,
like
it's been-
completely new.
It's been new to me the past few
No,
days.
I mean, like
We're just trying to show you the way,
trying to,
David.
like post like appropriate things onto like my Anne Arundel County Libertarian Facebook page.
No, fuck
So
that.
like, that's like my mindset. I'm scrolling through my feed. I'm like, oh, this is an excellent article by some reputable source, and then I post a little quotation. And meanwhile, you guys are talking about like, yeah, and this girl, and she used to be in that, and then now there's this drama with this like third party Facebook page, and it's like so disconnected from my like everyday.
Yeah. Good for you, man. We need people that are running
Never seen
reputable
it.
pages
Never
and
seen it.
posting like informative stuff
Yeah, man.
for the public, especially when you're representing the party to the public.
Yeah, I wonder about the
Um,
bleed through. Like, what's the
That's
connection-
why I'm
what's the
proud to be an
connection
admin
between, like,
on
the
Kylosphere.
Libertarian Party, like the party itself, and like the pages that are allowed by all these different counties and states and at the federal level, and then like the liberty movement like trollathon. Like where the circles meet? Like I'd be interested to find like what pages get viewed the most on cross. You know, like you said, you saw Arvin like commenting like on Facebook. Like that's Arvin. You know, that's a guy who's running for president. Like if you saw like Trump like liked your like Twitter feed, like you'd go nuts.
Right.
know?
Yeah. Well, did you hear about a few months ago? Roger Stone commented on our Instagram and said he was watching us
Oh,
from his official page.
wow.
I thought it was joke. It was right after April Fool's, or it was
Oh.
like the night of April Fool's or something like that. So I thought it was a joke, and so that's why I didn't pay attention to it. And then Jared said, he was like, "Wait a minute, did you really like check that out? It's actually him."
Wow.
I was like, "Holy shit, it was him."
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I reached out to him and I never heard anything back.
You'd be surprised to see like how many of these people that you can reach across, and you can just send a message and be like, "Hey, I really like your stuff," and like they have no idea who you are. But you know, it's weird getting like Facebook friend requests from like complete strangers. You have like one mutual friend, and like they're in like I don't know, California or Ohio.
CIA.
I'm like,
Dude, that's the CIA, dude.
So that would explain why you didn't add me at first when I first met you.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I was like,
I only
yeah, but once once I've seen you like
you were
in
afraid.
person,
You were
like, somewhere-
afraid.
But we did see you in person.
Dude, fess
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
fess up, dude.
Well,
you
make
were
the connection.
you were afraid that Phil was going to come over to your house and break all your chairs, weren't you?
Damn it.
Not exactly.
There's a strong likelihood that would have happened, but
All right.
right.
Okay, so
We
all right.
digress.
So yeah, I want to tell everybody we have the Patreon now. So right after this podcast, we do an after hours program, and then we make that available on our Patreon page, which you can gain access to for a minimum of $1 per month. So if you want to help keep the lights
$1.
on down here in Anarchy Basement, just hit us up over there at Patreon. Thank you. We also have T-shirts over at libertariancountry.com, and then there's like lots of dank Liberty swag over at libertariancountry.com. And if you type in the code PRL or the code PRL podcast, you will receive a 10% discount. Now let's move on to the shootings.
Topic number 1.
Yeah.
Topic number one. Okay, so
Who's got
So-
something to say?
So what? Okay, so this happened.
Phil, it sounds like you've been reading up on your Alex Jones here, dude. so what's weird about the shootings, dude?
I just think that there's lots of different things that are strange about it. I know I'm not saying that this didn't happen, that there weren't people actually dead. I of course, like I full-heartedly accept the fact that like this actually happened, but I think there's a lot of things behind it that seem very cookie cutter, and especially with the people the middle, because there was 3 shootings. One that happened at some like garlic festival. I don't know what happened in Ohio.
Oh, yeah, I heard about. When was that one?
That was that was like 2 nights ago.
Oh,
And-
I didn't read much about that.
Yeah.
I heard about it, but I didn't realize it was that recent.
And then the
smelly
second,
ass burp, bro.
the second one was where was the second one that
El
happened?
Paso, Texas.
El Paso, Texas. Yeah, so the
Walmart.
Walmart. So the guy, apparently his manifesto was
Alleged manifesto.
yeah, because everything that's on that manifesto is what is kind of a stereotype of what a leftist would say about a rightist. Like someone on the right, like a conservative, like John, like how he was afraid of automation and he didn't like immigrants and they're stealing jobs.
Automation?
I don't know the type of
Automation?
person. The type of person.
You know, I
that
always
would-
mess up that word.
Hey Phil.
Yes.
I was
The
just
type of person
sorry,
that
I
would
didn't mean to call you
that
out.
would do something of that kind of heinous nature, like they are going to exhibit like insane behavior because they're
Yeah.
insane. Like they killed some people, so it's like it might be this is what we think. Not all Trump-tards or the like or whatever, but like this is a deranged person. Like and for me, like
Of course, it's a deranged
this,
person.
it always comes out like, okay, well, this person was a Democrat, this person was a Bernie supporter, this person was a Rand Paul supporter, whatever. Like, I don't think any of that matters. I think these people are crazy and they'll believe anything that comes along. So, like, I don't really pay attention, like, what their motives were half the time or what political party they were a member of, because these people were literally psychopaths that were able to murder children. So, like, all of them, it's like, okay, that's a horrible situation, so how do we fix it and how would we not be partisan about it?
Yeah, I get that, and I think immediately from the jump, and then there was one that happened late last night at some downtown
Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio. Yeah, so I don't know what the final toll of that is. I think like 19 or something.
Well, I'd heard
Or
9
nine,
dead
maybe
and
9,
like 20 injured or
Yeah.
something.
I mean,
but
it's crazy. Like this is insane. But even though Mike Shipley doesn't want you guys to say that, he says that You're shaming. You're
ableism.
shaming mentally people with mental health
It's
problems by
ableism,
saying that.
Yep.
So that was your Mike Shipley.
Well, I mean,
update.
you can love your grandfather, but if he thinks he's Teddy Roosevelt, like, you got to restrain him. You got to be like, okay, you have there's nothing wrong with admitting like you have a mental problem. It's the meaning is separate from that. Like,
Well, I mean, there's certainly distinctions between having mild depression and then just being schizophrenic and being
right.
suicidal schizophrenic. Like, there are distinctions to be made there, but it doesn't have to be so absolutist. It's not like, well, we just have to just completely look the other way for all mental illness.
Well,
But we also don't need to, necessarily call people out for being mentally ill.
Everyone keeps jumping to conclusions of what. So everyone's saying it's Donald Trump's fault. He pushes all this hatred in the world, and so it's Donald Trump's fault. So, but then, so I noticed Corey Tyler, or is it Taylor Tyler? I don't know. Of Slipknot, the band Slipknot, lead singer.
Dude, I'm not going to know who the fuck that is.
I don't know.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
Dude, Slipknot's
Thanks, thanks, man. That was a weird way to get
That was
aggressive. All right, anyway, so
just
Corey
fucking
Taylor
with you.
of Slipknot had a post saying he liked something that said, like, this is Donald Trump's fault for his rhetoric. But then there's also another
really?
post
Oh,
someone made that said, because apparently the guy was wearing a T-shirt of the band, Acacia Strain, which is like a metalcore band. And so they were saying they called it a hateful band, and then he went off on the fact that it had nothing to do with that. It absolutely had nothing to do with that. And so it's like, well, pick one. What is it? It's not.
the same. Corey Taylor said both.
Yeah, he said both these things. So it's Donald Trump's rhetoric. No, it's the band's hateful rhetoric. Like, it's so stupid. Like, just like get away from this whole topic because it's really pushing everyone to the extremes again. Everyone's saying, "Fuck your thought and prayers. That does nothing. We need action now."
Yeah.
It's just getting absurd, and I'm at the point where I used to be very much so like, I don't want to get involved in this. Like, I just want to like that massacre that happened in New Zealand was like terrible. Like, that was traumatic.
Yeah,
like, seeing that video of that, and it was awful.
Yeah, they said that guy's manifesto was cited as inspiration for multiple subsequent shootings. I guess he wrote a very anti-immigrant, anti-minority. No, thank you. Paper, and it's inspired other shootings, right?
Yeah.
So, David was saying, well, this is mental illness, and sometimes it is, but other times it actually is politically motivated. Like, some of these shootings are ideologically driven, politically motivated. This guy, if this manifesto turns out to actually be his work, it's xenophobic, right? He's talking about, he compared Hispanics in South Texas to Europeans coming over and taking North America from the Indians or the Native Americans. Jesus, sorry. So he's
Fucking
like,
bigot.
see what happens if you don't treat it as an invasion of hostile foreigners. Next thing you know, you get wiped out. So we should learn our lesson from what we did to them and not let the same thing happen to us. So that was like his drive, according to this manifesto.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the whole thing with mental illness or whatever you want to call it. Is there's like, where is the line where it's like there are certainly people that are hanging out in 4chan or even maybe like getting together into protests on the street that believe exactly the same thing that this kid did.
It's not mental illness, it's ideology.
But what pushes you over that edge of like, all right, you're the guy on 4chan, you're the guy maybe holding up a sign somewhere, and then you're shooting up a Walmart. Like, where is that line? Like,
a level of conviction.
Is it a level of conviction, or
Yeah.
is it a level of conviction mixed with some sort of instability, mental instability?
I don't
You
think
know?
so. I think it's just conviction. I think they just truly
Or-
believe
or-
that we're at war.
Or is it MK Ultra?
Could be. I don't think it's MK Ultra.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. I think it's awfully weird how this shit like never happened, and then it starts happening like all the fucking time.
And
Well,
it's,
So, Kyle, would you say you could apply sort of that same principle to like Al Qaeda or ISIS or
Yeah, they're not
Taliban,
all mentally
where they're not
ill.
all mentally ill,
It's
but they're
ideology,
all right.
That's
That's a
the
good point, yeah.
ideology they've absorbed, and they believe that there's a war going on, and that they're a soldier in a greater war, and they're going to be a martyr, or they're going to be. And even these people today, the shooters for the far right, believe that they're going to be martyrs. They're going to be legendized or lionized, and they do in their meetings. They're like, remember our brother, whoever who killed X number of blacks or X number of gays or whatever. Like, they actually do get a reputation.
So then, by that logic, is there some blame to be placed on Trump, or is it sort
how
of
many
like
of these are happening where they're like, you know, Trump tards, whatever you want to call them, the far right. I mean, how often is this happening? I mean, I remember Charlottesville, and the guy that was getting, I believe he was being assaulted as he was trying to get to his car, and they were surrounding him. But then he made the snap decision to just gun it right into the crowd, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's fine. Like, you're being assaulted, but what made you run people over? Like,
Yeah.
you didn't have to. Like, I mean, I can only imagine like being in a car and having people just chasing me down or whatnot, and then like I get into a situation where I want to get away, but like I'm not gonna run into a crowd of defenseless people. Like there's got to be like you put enough people who are able to get to that like, you know, far extreme in whatever political or philosophical thing that they have got going, and then like it's almost I would say like a pyramid. Like you get to the point where the most radical individual is the one that's the crazy enough to get to go away with this stuff. So it's like, don't you have a higher probability of insane people being involved in organizations like this?
So you're saying you never go full Wagner?
I'm not insane. But no, yeah,
gonna be a great Kyle
Dylan
quote.
Roof.
I'm not
Remember
insane.
Dylan Roof shot up a church?
Yeah.
And there was one where a guy, I think in Pittsburgh, shot up a mosque or something like that. Remember that one? So there have been some far right attacks, and I've seen some far left guys post memes like, "Hey, look, here's the body count," and they list all these different attacks that have happened and on the right side, and then the Antifa is like a clean slate or whatever. You know, so their argument is, hey, you're going to compare us and say Antifa is just as bad as the far right, but look at the body count, you know?
It's the same lesser of two evils that we see on the grand stage between the Republicans and Democrats. It's like, oh, yeah, well, we're going to murder less brown people.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, that's thanks.
Well, Antifa's point is that, you know, we're not out there killing people like they are. We're fighting these people who are crazy and trying to kill other people. So we're actually the good guys, right? That's their point. And yeah, it's a valid point, I guess. I don't like that they. I mean,
it's a valid point, but it's also painting a broad brush across that entire far right movement. I mean, you know, if you're nonviolent and you're on the far right, you're not. I mean, yeah, you have some deplorable ideas for sure, but do you deserve to be, you know, have milkshakes thrown on you or get punched by a bunch of people in the back of the head?
They would say yes. I mean,
right.
Antifa would say yes.
Well, that's
for
the
sure.
problem. I mean, sure. Do we have to judge Antifa with like next to like the worst of the far right that actually has gone through with shootings? In that way, yeah, they are better, but that doesn't make them good. You know, it doesn't make them just.
Yeah, well, they're vigilantes.
And not above criticism.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a problem with vigilantism per se, but
I do. I mean, you're talking about arbitrary justice, right?
Okay.
It's just
There we
mob
go.
justice.
Okay, so Kyle, Kyle, bro, listen up. So you're telling me that you weren't a fan of Death Wish with fucking Charles Bronson, dude?
I mean, who wasn't a fan of Death Wish?
Or Death Wish
All right.
2 or Death Wish 3?
All right, you leave
Death Wish 3 is the best Death Wish,
You
Kyle.
leave Death Wish out of this.
Death
all
Wish
right?
3 is the best Death Wish, dude.
I like. What was the one where he got his like big gun, his like big handgun, and he like
Death Wish 3, actually.
he shoots the giggler?
Well,
Was
you
it
know,
the giggler?
No, actually, you know,
was
he
Death Wish
had
2.
that gun in a bunch
how
of the
dare you
movies.
spoil that movie, dude?
He had that gun in a bunch of movies. But
It's only
okay.
like 40 years old.
Okay, dude. Death Wish 3
I've
is
never
when like he goes to visit
I've
his
seen,
friend.
like, some of it.
He goes to
Some of-
visit his
some-
friend
some
in
of
this
them.
like really like fucked up city with all this crazy crime, and then he gets there, and then his friend ends up getting killed, and he just wages war on this entire gang population of this city.
Yeah.
And then there's like old people shooting machine guns, and I mean, dude, it's a fucking Death Wish 3 is a crazy fucking movie. It just goes like way over the top. Awesome.
Yeah, the police aren't doing their job, so he is
Of course.
he's a one
I don't
man,
even know who that
you know,
is.
wrecking crew that just
Yeah.
cleans up and just kills this gang, all these gang members.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's a pretty awesome movie, dude.
All right. What were we talking about?
Mass
Well,
shootings.
okay,
mass shootings.
one,
Yeah.
one thing I wanted to talk about with the mass shooting is there's been I want to talk a lot about this, to be honest. There's a lot of things I've been thinking about lately, and I well, that too, but mostly it's like I get the knee jerk reaction. People are like, we need we need something to happen. Because, like, I think about, like, I was at the movies with my kids, and I think about the exits, and I think about what would I do if something were to happen here. And it's pretty terrifying. And I get the whole sense of, why do I need to feel terrified? Like, why do I need to be terrified? Like, why can't we take these guns away from people and it'll make it happen? Like, that immediate reaction in your head is...
Think about how many
but
shark
should that be
attacks
an
there are.
episode title? Why is Phil statist?
No, I'm saying, like, you have this emotion as a father, but I think...
As a statist.
I feel like I'm, to lack of a better word, intelligent enough to follow it to its logical conclusion that maybe the problem isn't the guns, because this will happen with people with a bomb. This will happen with people running over
With a
driving
knife.
a knife. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Their
violence
argument
gonna
is it makes
happen.
it easier.
I know it makes
Knife, with a plastic straw.
it possible attachments.
So what do you
right?
say when they
Those
when,
are
when they
some
come
good
back with
memes,
that?
by
Well,
the
no,
way.
I'm just saying in my head, like, I know the knee-jerk reaction. I have that feeling. It's like, oh God, like, why do I have to feel terrorized? Like, why should I have to live in a world where I feel like I'm scared of going out with my family in public? And I get that, and
Well, Philip-
but I can follow it to its logical conclusion, me personally. So I understand where the fear comes from, but I don't. And so everyone's like, well, no, we need sweeping gun confiscation and stuff, but they don't really see the violence that's going to come from that, because they're going to feel, well, I don't have a gun, so I'm not going to be a part of this. So I'm not going to see cops breaking into the wrong house looking for guns, shooting and killing the wrong family, and everyone's dog dying and shit like that. Like, people who have, like, brothers and sisters who are police officers who are
Well,
getting
it's funny
shot in
to
the
see,
face
like,
because they're being told to confiscate guns.
It's funny when, like, the sort of the Antifa type leftists, like the ACAB leftists,
Yeah.
who are supposedly against cops, but then also for gun control.
Right.
So, like, who do you think is going to confiscate the guns?
I had that interaction today on Instagram where I follow. There's a big festival out in Vegas called Punk Rock Bowling, and there's all sorts of, like, awesome punk bands that play it. And so they took this one post from this guy. I think his name's Israel. He's like he's like a cartoonist, and he drew this thing where it said 2 middle fingers, where it said thoughts and prayers, and it had 2 middle fingers on it, and they were, and all just nothing but just these punks and like communists saying, did you see them, like, one after the other saying, oh my God, we need action, fuck thoughts and prayers, we need to take away the guns, no one should own an AR-15, blah, 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 blah. So my response to it was, so wait, you guys want to take all the guns, then that's going to leave only the cops with guns. And I said, but hashtag arm the proletariat under it, and I haven't gotten one response from it, which is pretty
that's
shocking.
awesome.
It was
That's
like,
awesome.
because I was like, hey, you guys are a bunch of socialists, so here you go, arm the proletariat. That's your boy Marx. He said that himself,
Yeah.
right?
I think there are some consistent far left people that would actually agree with us on gun control.
There's a socialist gun club and that they have around. I think Negotiating Rights Away is a NRA parody thing, but it's run by socialists.
Really?
Who are like gun owners. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So
But the
don't hold
thing,
me to
I'm
that.
talking about your sort of just your stereotypical, like, kind of Bernie bro, but, like, maybe a little bit further to the left. That's like SJW, hates cops, but then also wants gun control.
How many of
It's
those
like,
are
how is
there?
this going to work? Also, how are you going to have higher taxes? How can you support taxation and then hate the police? Who's
Right.
collecting the taxes?
Right. I mean, these are logical consistencies that we have, which they don't. And another thing that got brought up with that, oh shoot, I'm trying to think of the shit. I lost my train of thought. Damn it.
So shootings.
Well, yeah, no, it was about the shooting. It was another aspect I had about it. I was thinking about and just
Conspiracy
I lost
wise?
it. Well, yeah, thank you. There it is. Okay, so I've been hearing a lot of news articles where people were talking about the debates that just happened. They had the 2-night debates. We're going to get to that in a little bit, but they were like, most of the focus has been about healthcare. Healthcare, the quote unquote moderates of the people in the debate were talking about healthcare as an issue, how you can pay for healthcare. And they were talking about it. A lot of people commenting were saying they need to find another subject to talk about besides healthcare. Like, I feel like everyone's getting bogged down in healthcare and Republican talking points on healthcare. Conveniently, after all these articles come out saying that, there's 3 mass shootings. So what do you guys think the next debate was going to be about?
Oh, for sure, gun control.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it just, like I said, there's
Well, that's in that. When is the next one? I heard
think
it's September.
Yeah, I
because
think so.
they're cutting down to like 8 or 9.
10. I thought it was
10.
10.
Okay, so it's like
5 from the each night or whatever.
Wait.
Go Tulsi.
Yeah, it's interesting how they actually shape the election through the debates and through, oh, you didn't meet the polling requirements. Like, the election hasn't even happened yet, and already they're cutting candidates out of even having a platform. And once you're not on that debate stage, you're really no longer an option.
Yeah, you're not relevant.
You're talking about us right there, LP.
Yeah, that's certainly happened
Right.
to the LP.
Yeah.
It's like they never get on the debate stage, so it's never really even considered. And a lot of libertarians, like Gary Johnson, really pushed for getting that debate access. We've tried suing for it and everything else, and just trying to get because once you're up on the stage, all of a sudden people are like, oh, I got 3 options now.
God, fucking millions and millions of people watching.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you could have someone like Marianne Williamson get up on stage.
Crazy ass
Or
bitch.
you could have like Risa do some lesbian shit.
So,
Oh shit, dude!
Ooh.
Wow, dude.
so
But it was a joke, dude. It was a joke, Brian.
She's
So,
leaving the group for sure.
Democrat, Republican, and Libertarian are up on stage in a 3-way debate in 2020. Who's your Libertarian pick? Out of anybody?
Arvin Vora.
yeah. I mean, honestly, right now, out of anybody, I'd go Arvin.
Well, okay, so this brings me to a
Kyle Wagner.
No, let's just hope.
I would promote Kyle Wagner on stage representing libertarian ideas before I would have any Republican or Democrat up there.
That's very nice of you.
But for real, he's more libertarian than any of these Republicans and Democrats that be on stage, these corporatist warhawks who know nothing about economics.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's
All
already
right.
got like a half dozen groups, So, that's social media right there.
So Kyle, who would you want? Who would you if you had a choice?
If I can reiterate. So
Okay.
it's not who you want as president.
No, but on stage, just
It's
yeah.
who you want up on stage representing the Libertarian Party in the debate. I'm not giving you the election. I'm saying, like, who do you think would do best?
clearly,
up on stage
clearly, I think above and beyond. And anyone say, of course, I'll be accused of being a fanboy for saying this, but it would be Tom Woods. I think he can speak eloquently. He knows everything.
I would
about-
agree, like that. Like if I could have my number one pick,
Yeah.
it would be Tom Woods. I've said that for years.
Yeah. I know it would never happen. So I think of guys like Jacob Hornberger of the of Future Freedom Foundation, and he was really good. Even though he's a minarchist, but like he wants to abolish the CIA and the FBI and everything else, and he's really good.
We really don't have a lot of guys that could be taken seriously because, you need people with some political experience, with some clout,
Yeah.
and I like, Massey maybe, somebody like if he would choose to do it, but there's really...
Or Mosh.
Or Mosh. There are very few people where I feel like they would be respected and taken seriously, I don't know.
But I mean, you say
Sitting
that,
at
but
the- sitting at the
going
big
back
boy
to
table.
Marianne Williamson, I mean, the media is kind of trashing her,
Mhm.
but like she has a following. Like there's
Yeah,
a lot of people that are into her,
Who are
and
we
like
talking
I
about?
see even like there's some
Democratic candidate.
there's some Trump voters that are
What's
into her.
the spiritual lady?
Yes.
Yeah,
What's her name again?
Marianne Williamson.
Yeah. So what's up with her?
Well, her whole
Like
thing,
that.
yeah. I mean, her whole thing is like this sort of like a metaphysical battle between like good and evil that she feels needs to be waged, where Trump sort of represents, or I guess it's like love versus hate,
cosmic dark forces
Where-
surrounding Trump.
where Trump represents like evil and hate and badness, and she represents
The light.
the light
goodness.
and good.
So we got a guy with a boot on his head, and we don't have the most ridiculous candidate running for
Pretty
our party
much.
nomination. Oh my goodness! What is
Yeah.
it? Like we will just heal the universe.
I mean, she actually does
Oh,
have. I listened to her.
She wants reparations too.
Did you listen to the Rubin episode with her?
No, I did not. No.
Well,
I
yeah,
did
she
not.
talks about the reparations.
Dude, she let a prayer off saying apologizing for being white. She let a prayer. I
Oh.
think there's a video that just came out of that.
Really?
Funny. Yeah.
Jeez. Send me that. I need to.
People
I
are
need to show it
following
to
her for
somebody.
the comedic value. I don't think.
Well, of course.
No,
I
there
don't
are
think
people
they're-
that legitimately think that
Yeah, only people who bought her books probably.
she's the angel of light to save us from Trump.
not that, but there's that there is sort of this abstract sort of like negativity going around, hatred, whatever you want to call it, and they feel that she is sort of combating it in a way. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't hold that position. I'm just saying, like, she was highly Googled like right after the debate.
Yeah.
So this has got to be how Jon Snow felt in Game of Thrones when he's like, "Look, the White Walkers are coming, and like 5 armies are like killing each other."
Right,
like, in
yeah.
the real world, like she's like, "Yeah, man, like the Walking Dead are coming, and like we gotta like join together in this epic battle."
Yeah.
That I don't know, like Lord of the Rings. I don't know, like some sort of
Yeah.
spiritual.
I thought the first one was a good analogy, the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but
the
or
country
is she
is
just crazy?
But I mean, I just.
I mean, there is something to be said about having.
She has a following.
She does have a following.
Like,
I
do you
mean,
think she's gonna be on the with the Hateful Eight?
The word cult following is very applicable in this situation.
Is that was that like all the palm readers of like California?
But apparently she
I don't
doesn't
know,
do
man.
crystals.
The
Everyone,
events?
everyone jokes about crystals, but she does not promote crystals. Okay, guys. Even though she's like the person.
She
that
could
would-
start a church after. That's what she's doing. She's starting her own.
Well, they
religion.
did. It's called Scientology.
Oh, she's a Scientologist.
I don't know. I was
no.
just making fun of Scientology.
Yeah, there is a culture of hate and anger right
Yeah.
now, and I don't
That
know.
is true.
I don't know if that's Trump's fault or me. Certainly in the middle of it.
yeah.
You know, the left in particular is angry. I guess the right's angry too. Everybody's angry.
You say you're in the middle.
I
I
say
feel
I
like-
didn't say I am. I said Trump is.
Oh, okay. Because for me, like the two parties and all their drama is over there, and like me and my life, it's like over here. And like when I watch the news, like it's entertaining, you know. And it's like, oh well, what's happening next, you know? Like, but on the other hand, like I'm only one dude. And I could have my own sphere of influence, and like that drama, that's somebody else's drama. I don't let it bother me. I don't try to be like in the middle, like oh I'm halfway conservative, halfway liberal. Like no.
You kind of sound like
Well, Adam
was
Carolla.
I was going to say Matthew McConaughey.
Kyle,
Oh.
Kyle,
What
it's
he's
not,
like driving the Lexus.
Well, he made
and
me
he's
think
like,
of something
or
Adam
the-
Carolla
whatever
says,
the car is.
which is like your goal in life should be to like, you know, which is coming from like a bit of a privileged position, but like your goal should be like to sort of like make it so it doesn't fucking matter who is president.
Yeah.
You know, it shouldn't
There you go.
like construct your life in such a way that it really doesn't matter. Like, yeah, you might get more of your taxes taken from you. You might have more like burdens that you have to deal with, but like ultimately you're going to be okay. But if you become too dependent on the government and you become too worked up about it and too like over politicized, which I mean, I guess we kind of are, but like I don't think it gets in the way of any of us like getting on with our lives.
Well, you know, I mean,
You
a
know?
lot of us spend our extracurricular time like being involved in politics.
Sure.
It's not just like
but it's
this-
extracurricular is what I mean. Like you're
Yeah.
not just like sitting in your basement like, you know, just not working, just like fucking hanging out on the internet like all day. You know,
Some people do.
some people
that.
do, but that's unhealthy. Man.
I don't know.
like
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Phil's over here like,
Phil's over here.
No, yeah, I'm sorry.
He's
This
like-
this fills my day.
He's like
I mean, I'll be on my
Marshall.
lunch break and I'm scrolling through Facebook feeds, like looking for appropriate things to post on like a Libertarian page.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's become more than a hobby. It's like a second job you don't get paid for.
Yeah, sure.
Fun.
Yeah, I'm not
But
saying
yeah,
there's
you
anything
can't
wrong
let it
with being an
consume you.
activist, but I'm just saying
Yeah, yeah.
you can't. I mean, this is his whole point is just like you need to like construct your life in such a way, if you can, that it just doesn't matter who the president is. So you don't have to be so personally, emotionally invested in it that you can take like a practical standpoint and be like, yeah, I'm not the one that's getting locked in rape cages, but I care about the people who are, so
Right.
I can have a clear mind and I can focus on
Right.
what I need to do to help them out, you know, instead of like being like just super frustrated and like, oh, the fucking government's gonna come knocking on my door any second and fucking
Right. Well, it's good to set like goals. You know, you set
Yeah.
a long-term goal. Like, well, what do you want? Well, I want liberty in America. Okay, well that's way down the road. So what?
Yeah.
Well, how do you get there? Okay, well we'll have a libertarian president, or we'll have libertarians in office somewhere. It's like, okay, how do I help that happen?
yeah.
You know, and then once you realize, like, oh, well, what I can do is, you know, do some content online or beat the feet, you know, knocking on doors, like whatever it is, like that's your niche and that's what you do. But like
Yeah.
other than that, don't let all this drama like affect your life because
Right.
it's just gonna pull you down. Like it's good to have the philosophical conversations where we can get into the nitty gritty, but like don't let that consume you with like that over sorrowful feeling of like, oh, liberty, you know, it's going down the drains.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like-
compartmentalizing, and I think that's
Yeah.
important. That's great advice. Don't let politics consume you. I've had issues with that many years ago that I got over, and now it's just just one compartment of my life and not like consuming all my waking hours stressing about the economy or the politicians.
You were just
or
talking
whatever.
about your Ron Paul reunion earlier, like, and you think about all the people who were involved in that 9 years ago, like, they've all, how many of them have moved on?
A lot of them had kids and just started families and have just completely dropped out of politics, have no interest, or just I don't see them on social media. They don't go to meetings or anything like that. Yeah. It's been hard, like outside of this podcast. How do you connect with libertarians in the real world? Like, what kind of organizations have meetups? We used to have Campaign for Liberty, which was Ron Paul's organization. Locally, I kind of dropped off from that, and I got involved with the Libertarian Party. Most people didn't. Most people did not follow me to the LP. The Liberty Caucus of the Republican Party is, I think, just as small as the LP. I mean, there's not a whole lot of activity. They're not having meetings. They don't even have a page for the county that I'm in. So, I don't know what other avenues there are. But I'm into party politics, so that would be my preference is, connecting with people through political action. So, not that the LP has been nothing. I mean, it's something. You guys have
we're going to
meetings.
get you a county Facebook page.
I have. Oh, no, there is one for the LP for my county.
Right.
I created it. But there is one. And but I'm just saying.
Are you still in charge of that page, or do you?
I have admin rights. Like,
okay.
So
because someone questioned me on my post I made in the group, and I don't know if that was you or not.
I don't think.
Is the non-political action, is that a result of just frustration with the Libertarian Party? Because I don't think there's like a lack of.
I think it's.
look at like Facebook, right? Like, look at like. All these different libertarian pages that ended up getting shut down, and look how many followers they had. Now, some of them were just there for the memes. Probably weren't like philosophically rigorous, but I mean, there had to be a good portion that are at least like liberty-minded people.
I think it's a lack of people. I just don't think libertarianism is as popular as we like to think it is. And there's if somebody's a libertarian, to take that next step and leave your house and meet other libertarians is like, that's a huge step. People aren't doing that.
Yeah, so we're all socially awkward as it is.
Yeah, I touched on this for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes last week about like libertarians that aren't involved. You have a lot of people that get involved and they realize how like futile this effort is, and they get bummed out and they roll out. Like I've seen a lot of candidates, both in like grassroots Republican candidates, running against the establishment, and also libertarian nominees, which is basically like everybody's like, hey, well, we don't have a second guy running, so go for it, like, good luck. But we see a lot of new people come in, and they put in a lot of effort, and then they see the election results, and they realize like how horrible they did, because every single one of them thinks like, oh yeah, I have a chance, and it's like you watch like somebody put in a second job worth of work into something and like hoping every day, like, well, maybe like what I'm doing now will actually have an effect. And then you watch the election results come in to get like 3%, and then they're just like, their whole world is broken. And then I've just seen so many good individuals come in, and like straight off the bat, somebody's like, oh yeah, you want to run for office? Yeah, go right ahead. And then like they put their lives into it. They're not going to dinner with their kids and their wives, or whatever it is. And then nothing happens. It's like, well, so how do we prevent that?
They have unrealistic expectations.
I was gonna say,
right? You have to understand, as a libertarian candidate, 3% is pretty good. You did pretty well. Like, that's what
Yeah.
It's hard to tell somebody who's running for office you're not going to win. Like, you want to be optimistic.
I'm
but
sorry.
Well, it depends on
the problem that it's not like that. We don't know that. It's that these candidates don't know that, and I feel like we're throwing out these new guys. We're throwing them to the wolves, and it's like, okay, we have this tendency in the Libertarian Party and elsewhere to like, you find somebody who's willing to run, and they'll run, instead of saying like, what's your experience? Like, how do you know what you need to do in order to actually run for office? I think we as the Libertarian Party have to do a better job of encouraging people to become volunteers instead of encouraging people to just run for office.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that's discouraging. I know, like, I post memes and I'm engaging in the group, and that's already enough to like make my wife hate my guts for that. But But see, it's just it's hard, man. It's a lot of hard work, and
Yeah.
there's really not much to show about it. And maybe one day in the long run, someone will say somewhere, man, I remember that I met this guy David, and man, he told me about this stuff, and it didn't resonate till like 3 years later when I was like, man, this guy was talking about this shit like a long time ago, and it makes sense. So it's like maybe then that's your payoff.
Oh, that's
you know?
my story.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's
me.
what I'm referring
Yeah,
to.
I mean, a good friend of mine, 15, 20 years ago was he said, "Oh, I'm a Libertarian." I was like, I didn't even know what that was. I was just a lock and step Republican voter. I didn't pay attention to politics. I just hit the R button all the time. And he was like feeding me all this stuff, and he was being cool about it. And he was like, okay, all right, I was like neoconish. So like he's telling me all this stuff, and like he's not being a jerk about it. So like I just have a conversation, but it never changed. Then a decade later, Ron Paul comes along. Like, and all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I remember all this stuff that my friend Brendan was saying. So yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Similar
Like,
thing
those
happened to me
seeds
too.
that's
in a
what-
shorter time.
when I was talking last week about like pushing our libertarian message, like we have a tendency to like want to argue until we're right, like a certain presidential candidate. And like you need to work on just like creating that working
Was that
relationship.
Orange Man bad, dude?
Huh?
Are you
No,
saying
I think
Orange
it was
Man's bad?
You're saying Arvin
Oh,
Man
no.
bad.
Yeah, okay.
I won't say who I was talking about. You can make your own inferences. But you have people
Dude,
come in.
maybe
and
we should have you on with Arvin, dude.
Okay,
Is it? How do you think that would go, dude?
that would go great.
Cool.
I don't have a problem with the man. Like I disagree with his policies, and I disagree with how he goes about his approach on trying to change, politics.
Would you,
But, like, I don't
would you
have
say
a
that
personal
Arvin
problem
should
with
be
him.
more Wagner?
I don't
Yes. Definitely. Definitely.
know.
Like maybe if Arvin and Wagner had an ass baby.
But see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you have a personal problem with somebody. Like, why would I have a personal problem? Like, you think about like Rand and Trump having a conversation about going to Iran and being a spokesperson, right? And like calming things down with Iran, like over a golf session, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't play golf, but like, whatever sport you're into, imagine like we're hanging out and we're playing the game, on our downtime. And like, I'm going to send you to Iran. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Hey, by the way, that guy's a warmonger. Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's about it for the podcast tonight.
Goodness
And,
gracious.
I think you're right, dude.
Yeah. We're gonna take this on over to After Hours.
Yeah, let's do it.
We got to hit
and-
this list, bro.
Yeah. We got a whole list of topics. We got a shitload of topics for After Hours tonight. So I think we like hit everything. So until next time, live free.
Or die.
I was gonna say hit your mom.